Napoleon is Ridley Scott's latest historical epic that details the rise and fall of one of France's most controversial figures. We watch as the ambitious man, played by Joaquin Phoenix, makes his moves to go from soldier to emperor as he struggles to maintain a complex relationship with his wife Josephine, played by Vanessa Kirby. And with that comes the usual grand war sequences, political dialogue, and interpersonal relationship drama that we've come to expect from Scott's filmography. Now, from the onset, I should tell you that I am by no means an expert in world history. My first real introduction to Napoleon came from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. I state this early on because I have seen numerous people online pointing out flaws in which the way certain historical events were depicted in the film. I am only viewing and critiquing these events as they were presented within the confines of the movie's structure. I almost always extend a bit of leeway to directors when it comes to depicting nonfiction material. And I was admittedly quite excited to see Napoleon. Ridley Scott's career is a mixed bag to say the least, but he is responsible for creating some genuine masterpieces, and Joaquin Phoenix is certainly in the running for being the best actor working today. Seeing the pair reunite for the first time since Gladiator to tell the tale of one of the world's most complicated leaders was a prospect that was too good to pass up. All of this is to say that I walked in expecting a complex, character-driven epic, and walking out, I ultimately found myself a tad disappointed, to tell you the truth, despite still enjoying a fair amount of it. As I said before, Ridley Scott's filmography is quite mixed in terms of quality, ranging from masterpieces to solid base hits to flat-out disasters. Napoleon manages to somehow be a bit of all of these three and more, presenting a massive juggernaut of a movie that runs close to 3 hours in length yet still somehow feels as if it's lacking something. It's become routine now for Scott's theatrical cuts to be released into theaters despite missing crucial segments, almost always warranting a viewing of the director's cut. And Napoleon is no exception, as a cut of this film running more than 4 hours is slated to be released within a few months. How this version of the story was allowed to get the green light is beyond me, as the way the narrative bounces around from point to point gives a similar feeling as if we were skimming through the chapters of a French textbook the night before a big history test. I know I just laid it on pretty thick there with the negatives, but there were a number of genuine bright spots to be found within the movie. Joaquin Phoenix delivers a solid performance as one would expect, though it did take me about a half hour to settle into it, so to speak. For the first 30 minutes, it appeared as if he was sort of sleepwalking throughout the production, but once things in the story got going, his choices began to click for me. The little corrections he attempts to make for mistakes make for some great moments of levity, and I feel that is part of the biggest surprise I had with the film. I did not know how funny it was going to end up being. The marketing has sold this film as being this big, epic quest of ambition, but there is a great deal of humor that is laced throughout the script, and there were times where I found myself laughing out loud. There are several lines that Phoenix has, which in the commercials make him seem like this unparalleled badass. Once you see the movie, however, it becomes apparent that his delivery of these lines are more or less played for laughs, and that he's sort of peacocking to mask for some deep insecurities. There's going to be some who will take issue with this, and I totally get it, but for me personally, I found it refreshing, and it made for some of the more enjoyable parts of Napoleon. Vanessa Kirby absolutely steals every scene that she's in as Empress Josephine. While Phoenix was solid in the role, I actually found that Kirby was delivering an overall more solid performance than him. She really is the beating heart of the movie, and it's their relationship which acts as the story's spine. Man, if you like movies where Joaquin Phoenix plays a man who has troubling relationships with women, then 2023 really is your year. And as I said, this is a Ridley Scott movie, baby, so you just know you're guaranteed to watch some grand-scale war sequences, and he does not disappoint here in that regard. Almost every battle is shot to perfection. The way that we witnessed Napoleon implement strategy in real time was fascinating, and seeing it all play out on a large battlefield was a true sight to behold. I did get mildly annoyed with the way the rest of the movie looked, however. For some reason, a lot of modern films feel the need to shoot everything with a dull and gray aesthetic, and it is sadly the same case here. I've seen production photos, and I know damn well that these sets had color. These costumes had color. It's something that the director has done before, as even something like Gladiator, which is one of my favorite movies of all time, covered Rome in the same sullen appearance. It's not a huge issue for me, but it's still a little gripe I have. If you can't tell by now, I'm rather conflicted with reviewing Napoleon. Not just because it has a fair amount of both good and bad, but because it's essentially half a movie, and I feel like critiquing it is not doing the story justice. While at the same time, this is the version of the film that Apple Studios chose to release, thereby making it open to such scrutiny. You can feel that large chunks of scenes were lifted to meet its theatrical runtime requirements. There are multiple times where characters are getting ready to embark on something big and important, and then the screen just goes completely white. Every time this occurred, I just knew we were probably jumping over 15 minutes worth of movie. Supporting characters come in, make a substantial impact on the plot, then seemingly disappear entirely. Consequently, characters can also appear halfway throughout the story and suddenly become important. It makes for a disorienting viewing experience, especially when certain scenes lose their impact due to a lack of clear pacing. One character is sent to exile, then immediately returns after about 4 minutes of screen time, despite them saying, "It's been 300 days since I've been away." Yeah, I didn't feel that at all. We see firsthand that Napoleon has earned this immense level of adoration from the armies of France, yet it is a tad unclear why. Soldiers who are sent to arrest him stop dead in their tracks, proclaiming him to be the true emperor of France, yet those moments don't feel truly earned. What did he do exactly to garner this level of praise? I have no clue, but I have a sneaking suspicion that it is made very much more clear in the fuller version of the movie. Overall, Napoleon was a mixed bag for sure. There are moments of solid and intriguing political dialogue, well-shot battles, and phenomenal acting throughout, but it's all in service of a scatterbrained theatrical release. While there is a part of me that wants to say that you should go out and watch it just for its sheer cinematic value alone, I also think you would be better off just waiting for the full 4-hour cut, because this theatrical version left a lot to be desired. And ultimately, I was disappointed since it had such tremendous potential to be one of the year's best. It is not a bad movie by any means. There is quite a lot of good to be found here, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't leave the theater rather underwhelmed, and I'm not about to let Apple Studios get off scot-free. Sorry, I just had to. I'm gonna give Napoleon a C.